Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night. Hello, welcome to The Money Cure. I'm your host, Reverend Sean Robert Grant. Happy to have you with me here on another episode of The Money Cure. Thank you guys for joining in today. It is truly a pleasure as always to have you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for sharing. It's truly wonderful to be able to have so many people benefit from something that I'm just expressing within my own heart. And so I'm really grateful and appreciative to have that opportunity. So once again, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. Before we get started, as always, guys, if you have any feedback, any questions, anything about anything, you want a certain topic you'd like me to dive into deeper on this podcast, please, by all means, write to me at SeanG04@gmail.com, SeanG04@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Other than that, thank you for your correspondence, your interaction, wherever you are in the world, whether you're listening live or you're listening to a recording. I hope this message finds you feeling your absolute best and feeling your richest, which we will discover today has absolutely nothing to do with the idea of money, right? So let's dive into it. So this is a really wonderful message because to me it is, and it's a really profitable message because I've experienced so much in regards to the universe, the all that is, the God within me, leading me back to a place of helping me to understand that what matters the most is not the forms of wealth and abundance, but the conviction and the consciousness of wealth and abundance within myself. Okay? And it's gone to some extraordinary lengths to drive that point home. And I laugh now because I can laugh now, but if you read my next book, The Inner Path to Infinite Supply, you'll see how intense those journeys have been, those situations have been when the universe decides that it's time for you to learn the lesson to truly understand what wealth and abundance is. Now, I feel in a lot of ways I'm qualified to teach this because I've had enormous amounts of money and I've had absolutely zero amounts of money or close to it. Sometimes even doing this podcast, I'll be honest with you, I was as broke as you could imagine. And yet the beautiful thing for me was the understanding that although my physical money, my material money wasn't prevalent, within, I still felt that God in me was my infinite supply. I still felt that infinite riches and wealth was all that I knew. And just the list goes on as far as like the subconscious convictions that I had. And so I never stopped believing in that. I never stopped trusting in it. I never stopped having faith in that. And then, as you know, things turn themselves around, right? So in doing this podcast, I wanted to kind of touch on how to navigate situations like that when it happens, right? And, you know, a lot of us experience this. Maybe some of us don't really to the degree of having to understand how to navigate it. But I'll be honest with you. Excuse me. I'll be honest with you. I feel if you're on a spiritual path, you're going to experience some of these things because the reality is sometimes the divine has to take from you in order, right? Excuse me. Ooh, sorry about that. The divine has to take from you, even temporarily, in order for you to dive deeper within and to learn more and to expand more and to become more aware of the truth. It often has to take something out of your life. And in most cases, what do we value the most? We value our relationships the most. We value our money the most. We value our material possessions the most. So it's going to be one of those things that God is going to say, all right, just let me hold on to that. And it's not really God saying, let me hold on to that. But what happens is our connection to God suffers. And so when that happens, our consciousness suffers. And if our consciousness suffers, then we start to see certain things fall by the wayside. And that grabs our attention. And all it is just an opportunity to get you to draw more within to the divine essence. That's all it is. But it's hard to see that when you're going through a lot of different emotions and you're having this thing happen to you at a breakneck pace. So, I just wanted to talk a bit about, excuse me, how to navigate this. And so the number one thing to start is really, no matter where you are financially, even before you get into situations like this, you want to convince yourself, you want to convince your spirit, you want to convince your deeper mind that wealth and abundance is an inside job. Okay. Wealth and abundance is a permanently inside job. Right. And so what I mean is, if you're a fan of Neville Goddard, if you're a fan of Joseph Murphy, if you're a fan of Thomas Troward, Mary Baker Eddy, Ernest Holmes, everybody from the New Thought movement, Christian Larson is another one of my favorites. One of the main themes is the understanding that we are often called to, I don't want to say ignore because that can be hard, but we're often called to turn a blind eye to what is happening physically and redirect our attention back to the spiritual power and abundance that lies within ourselves. And when we do that, what actually begins to unfold and happen is something truly wonderful and amazing. We understand, or we come to the understanding that we can be at peace, we can be calm, we can be cool, we can be collected, and we can actually feel gratitude and feel grateful for what is present as opposed to what is not when we dive into ourselves, right? And cultivate that wealth and abundance from within as opposed to trying to make it manifest and make it a reality on the outside, right? So I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a lesson that I've learned a long time ago. And this is just basically the reality. And once again, if you're on a spiritual path, which I guarantee if you're listening to this, you probably are, when it is your time to learn something spiritual, to have a spiritual teaching lesson, a spiritual expansion, ascension moment, there is nothing in the material world that's going to step in the way of you learning in that moment, right? And that means, what I mean by that is, you could be building the greatest empire or business, and if you have to lose all of your money or your business to learn that spiritual lesson, it's going to happen, right? Now, initially we can think, oh God, the universe is trying to make my life hell. But the reality is, whenever something is lost, it's making way for something within you to open up in a greater capacity. Okay, I'll say that again. Whenever something is seemingly lost, it's the opportunity for you, something within you, to open up in a greater capacity, right? Which then opens itself up into your material reality. See, it's understanding that the material reality is only a reflection of the inner spiritual reality, the thoughts and the feelings and the things of the sort and the beliefs. So once we can understand that, we can step more into a place where we're not clouded by emotion to accept the truth that, okay, regardless of what's going on outside of me, I know I can still be wealthy. I can still be abundant. I can still have wealth and abundance within. I can still cultivate that feeling, that conviction, without even having to worry or be concerned about any type of activity on the outside, right? And a lot of times, I'll tell you from experience, it's not as bad as you think it is. Sometimes it appears to be really effing bad, and you don't really know what you're going to do. But the moment you take a minute to calm yourself, and just to kind of get back in peace and to understand, like, okay, you know what? I'll figure this out. I can figure this out. There's nothing that's going to stop me from not figuring it out. You'll be okay, right? And so the biggest thing in all of this is really getting to the place of whatever happens outside is temporary, right? Whatever happens outside of me is temporary. If there comes a time where monetarily I am affected, I know as long as I can navigate the spiritual lesson being taught, I can rise above that in a matter of time. How long it takes, nobody really knows, but it's all about the lesson being had, the lesson being understood. And once it's understood, you may even double the money you have coming back to you after that lesson has been realized. So we want to make it a point, in whether it's in meditation, whether it's separate from a normal meditation, but we want to make it a point any way possible that we can to ensure that wealth and abundance is within. Wealth and abundance lies within ourselves and nowhere else, right? And listen to me when I'm saying this. Okay, when I say wealth and abundance, I'm talking about the state of being, the state of mind, the way we act, right? The way we behave, right? Money, resources, material wealth is just a form of that, right? It's a reproduction of the internal state of wealth and abundance, right? Money is just a form. So the beauty is the consciousness, the feeling, the state of being creates the form, right? So if the consciousness is there, the form is always going to be not very far behind unless there's a spiritual lesson to be had, right? And sometimes you'll find your abundance will dry up in order for you to receive the lesson that is being taught to you by the divine. And there's no need to panic, because understand that if the divine is teaching you something, it's really the primary objective we know from the universe is self-actualization. So the primary objective is helping you to become a greater self, and to actualize in your highest potential by taking this stuff away. But what keeping the inner state of wealth and abundance does is it allows us to control our attitudes as we're going through a time of transformation. Okay. So I want to let you know what I've done here is I use affirmations. I write down, important quotations. I listen to recordings. There's this app called the Parrot app, and the Parrot app has been a huge blessing to me because what it does is allows me to hypnotize myself in the regard of basically just playing a powerful affirmation or intention statement over and over again as I sleep, which then drops itself down into my subconscious mind. And once my subconscious mind has it, it controls my behavior, right? And I don't even need to think about it. So for me, that has been like a really powerful step. And this app is free. You can find it. It's a pink and white app that can be found for free on the App Store on your iPhone, and also probably on Android as well too. It's a really, really powerful thing. I encourage you to invest in it, but that's just one way to do it. Another way is to read something before bed and just continue to recite it until you fall asleep. When you're in that theta state of receptivity with your brain waves, there's tons of different things you can do to ensure that the inner state of wealth and abundance is implanted into the deeper mind, the subconscious mind. You just got to figure out what works best for you. But the Parrot app has really, really helped me a lot. And I feel like it's convinced my deeper mind. And let me tell you, I come from an upbringing where lack was hardwired into just about every single thing that I did. So this app is really taking me to the next level as far as understanding that regardless of what goes on outside of me in the physical world, spiritually, I'm always going to be wealthy and abundant. From a mental standpoint, I'm always going to be wealthy and abundant. Emotionally, I'm always going to be wealthy and abundant. And eventually, that's just going to reproduce itself physically. And it has, and it will continue to, right? Unless there's a lesson for me to understand or to go through at that point in time. So I can't say that enough, guys. I can't say that enough. But I just want to let you know that once you understand wealth and abundance is an inside job, a permanent inside job, you stop focusing on the things you were once doing before to try and make money, right? I used to think, okay, I need money, let me go get a job. Or I need money, let me go create a product. Or I need money, let me go, do these affirmations, yada, yada, yada. No, the reality is I'm never really in need of money. I'm only in need of a consciousness that can create money. You see what I'm saying? And if I can cultivate that consciousness, money will come easily, right? The universe has to move according to our consciousness. It has to move according to what our dominant beliefs are, our dominant thought is, right? And once it has that, it has to operate according to that blueprint that it's been given. So for me, it's always a case of, okay, something didn't go right here. Something didn't flourish as much as I wanted it to. I lost a little bit of here. What do I need to do? I don't need to go out and try to get money. I just need to stay firm on my consciousness of wealth and abundance, on my conviction of wealth and abundance within myself. And eventually what's going to happen is money will continue to show up. It will continue to flow into my life, right? Why? Because money doesn't move according to our actions. Money moves according to our vibration. Money moves according to our consciousness, right? Understand that. Money does not move according to our actions. Money does not move according to what we do or our behavior. Money moves into our lives according to our consciousness. And if you can hold a consciousness of wealth and abundance, a God consciousness, so to speak, you're always going to like ride these waves and have yourself flowing like nobody's business. I mean, it's amazing what winds up happening when wealth and abundance becomes your inner conviction. So I could talk about this all day long and I'd be excited and happy to, but time is up, guys. So thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Once again, like we talked about, you can email me at SeanG04@gmail.com, SeanG04@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thank you for tuning in all around the world. Have a wonderful day, night, evening, wherever you are. Take care of yourself. We will talk soon. Reverend Sean Robert Grant signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.